Hey there, everybody. So I would like to talk about the ambidextrous body. This is a part of my Yamana courses that I oftentimes mention, and one time I actually ran a whole course on using your ambidextrous body. So a lot of the patterns we have in our body are from the way that we use them unconsciously over and over again. And I mean even just how you put the dishes away from the dishwasher or from your drying rack, or just how you reach forward for things a lot of times. What if you use the opposite hand? So the awkward side that people say, oh, I'm not ambidextrous, meaning that I can't use both parts of my body evenly, I can't use both hands evenly. But I find that if you do something as simple as, for example, today I am going to always step. If I always step with my right foot forward first when I'm going upstairs, downstairs, getting up from the couch or whatever, I am going to always use the other side. If you're right-sided and you always do the right side, you will use the left side. And it's a conscious thing that feels awkward at first. But then as you talk to your brain, let's do this, right? I can do this. And I almost hear the brain saying, yeah, why not? Like, why haven't you been? So it's like an exercise that's super simple to do, except for you have to remember to do it, right? But it doesn't involve any equipment. It doesn't involve anything else except for using your body different. So I'm talking about you open the cabinet to get something, to get your face creams, to get your honey, to get the refrigerator, even open the refrigerator door with the opposite hand and just move through space differently with a different part of your body. And it isn't just that you're using it, because if you're using your arm, you're not usually putting a lot of force on your arm. If you're using your legs, you definitely are putting force up through your hips, through your feet, everywhere. And this rivets all the way up, as I've been talking about, it rivets all the way up into the fascia of the skull. And in reflexology, what we talk about, sort of the referral joints. There are joints that refer to each other, but even like the outside of the temple, the outside of the jaw, the outside of the shoulder, the outside of the hip, the outside of the hand, the outside of the knee, the outside of the foot, that whole outside line is so often very contracted. So a lot of times you can find this showing up in your feet, meaning if you get on the footballs, particularly the smooth, black or blue foot savers, and you go into certain crevices of your feet where bones come together, you might start to notice there's a huge contraction on one side that's not exactly the same as the other. And you might have your hips twisted, right? And that's gonna put different force in your feet as it is. But part of that, think about that. If I always move forward with one side, how much motion is going into my hip and my foot from always moving forward with one side? Now, I sleep on both sides, but I tend to sleep on my right side first. Lately, my body's been wanting me to sleep on the other side, probably because my brain has been thinking about it, right? So, what can I say? Folding the laundry, picking the laundry up with the opposite hand, bending down and reaching for something with the opposite side of the body, it's very hard for me to brush my teeth with the opposite hand, but what if I didn't need, what if I could start to cultivate something in my brain that was different? So it's kind of like when they talk about if there's no such thing as a math brain. So in Stanford education program, came and talked to our PTA, and they said, look, we need you to understand there's no such thing as a math brain. What we find is really people who are really good at math and it was easy for them, they come to undergraduate or graduate school and they're freaking out and worried that they can't get what we're going to teach them because they've never had to struggle. The struggling brain builds the neurons that have the resilience and know how to, it's a muscle. It's like a muscle, right? You build your neurons so they know what to do. So if we start to use our bodies differently, we're building those neurons differently. Plus, we're using the anatomical structures differently, which is going to support us in a new way. So I really wanted to bring this up because like, even if you think about how you do baseball or something like that, are you always using the dominant hand? Well, sometimes it's not convenient to, but what if you didn't? What if you use the non-dominant hand to do baseball? What message would that send in your body? And the more you tune into it, the more you can actually feel what's going on. And you can feel yourself rewiring. Now, it only lasts as long as you are willing to pay attention to it and continue to do it that way, because when I do this, it's great. And then when I just decide to forget about it, then the patterns go back. But I almost think, what if there were a really long-term program that I could run that is very simple, just called Using Your Ambidextrous Body? And it was just a group of people who were starting to use and reminding themselves to use their body a different way. So what I noticed today, I was doing bed ball, which is a different ball. And some of you have it, and I would like to teach that. It could be a mini course. I was using bed ball the way I would use it in bed, in certain joints. And then I decided to use it in ways I wouldn't normally. And I was sort of more tweaking muscles in a turning fashion. And suddenly my whole body started tremoring. This is the value of knowing these elements of these classes that I teach. The tremor instinct is so incredibly valuable because it's the brain unwinding the body. So if I'm talking about the ambidextrous body and using your body differently, getting rid of patterns that you've encoded in your brain that just become natural, and building new neurons to remember to use other parts of your body or even other sides of your body the same way, learning to tremor out and actually using the tremor instinct. And in this case, I use it enough in my life, my body, my brain knows that I'm willing to do it, such that when I'm doing these little things in bed, my body started tremoring out. And it's just so amazing. I was doing something in my neck and my whole leg let go on the same side. So, as some parting words for this course, I really want you to know that training yourself a new way could be a really interesting activity to do, particularly when there's not as much to do anymore, right? What if you really trained yourself a different way? And you might end up doing if you take an aerobics class or something like that, you might end up doing that a different way too, because you'll notice, oh my God, it's easy for me to use this way. And so what if I just do all these motions with a weight on the other side that I don't usually use very much? What will happen to my bone structure? Because remember, the weight goes into your bone structure, into your brain usage, everything. How would that change things? Even picking up pots. If you pick up a pot and you think you're picking up evenly with two sides, what if you stopped and noticed my right side or my left side is much more dominant? Okay, for this moment in time, I'm going to pick up this pot of pasta water or something, pasta and water. I'm going to pick it up more with the opposite side. I'm going to actively use that, and you can feel it go through your body. Now, maybe I'm more sensitive than most people, but I'm here to tell you that these things work. So let me know. You can put comments about how this works for you. Let me know what this is like for you, because this is really a very key piece of changing your patterns. Okay, have a nice day.